Hi, I'm Joe Wiegand, and I'm delighted to have you along for the ride as we commemorate the centennial of the World War I sacrifice of Lieutenant Quentin Roosevelt, the youngest of the Lion's Pride. This is the story of our trip to France and playing for Quentin.
They were summoned from the hillsides, they were called in from the glen, and a country found them ready at the starting call for men. Let no tears add to their hardships as the soldiers pass along, and although your heart is breaking, make it sing this cheery song. Keep the home fires burning while your hearts are yearning. Though your lads are far away, they dream of home. There's a silver lining through the dark clouds shining. Turn the dark clouds inside out till the boys come home. Overseas there came a pleading, help a nation in distress. And we gave our glorious laddies honor bade do us no less. Let no gallant son of freedom to a tyrant's yoke should bend, and a noble heart should answer to the sacred call of friend. Keep the home fires burning while your hearts are yearning.
It was good to pay respect to where Quentin gave his sacrifice, and I would like to say that what we have done here doesn't change what he did. It is only a memory. It is only a reflection of what he did.
Buvez-moi de vos deux yeux, et je vous promets les miens. Ou laissez-moi un baiser dans une coupe, et je ne souhaite pas du vin. La soif de l'homme s'élève du monde une potion divine. Mais pour j'aimer ce nectar d'amour que je n'échangerai pour rien.
Well, hello there. My name is Tom Brousseau, and I'm here at the Biltmore Hotel in Fargo, about ready to embark on an excursion with some extraordinary people, led by Joe Wiegand, who is America's premier repriser of Teddy Roosevelt, and we're heading to France. So.
Come along, everybody, with your brand new gown. There's gonna be a meeting in that good old town. When you know everybody and they all know you, and you've got a rabbit's foot to keep away the hoodoo. When you hear the preaching does begin, bend down low for to drive away your sin. And when you get religion, you'll wanna shout it.
After a rendezvous at Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris, our troupe of 3 folk artists, 2 historical reprisers, a videographer, and 2 helpful family members had 90 kilometers to the east, visiting the American World War I memorial at Chateau-Thierry, reminded how close the war had come to claiming the French capital. We were delighted to participate in a seminar and champagne reception dedicated to Quentin Roosevelt, from the young school children who designed a Quentin Roosevelt comic book to the academic Vincent Harmsen, whose entire master's thesis is based on Quentin. We were quickly made aware that France remembers Quentin Roosevelt. The next morning, July 14th, Bastille Day, a national holiday in France, we made an early start for Chamery and the Quentin Roosevelt Memorial Fountain. While the village awoke, we spent some quiet moments of reflection at Quentin's Memorial Fountain. We rehearsed and were warmly greeted by the neighbors. Horse paddocks surround the fountain across a narrow country lane from a handsome horse barn and lovely chateau. Jean-Luc came by to plant the French and American flags into the flower pots overflowing with red, white, and blue petunias. We pantomimed our way through introductions and eventually would understand that Jean-Luc's father, as a small boy, was connected to the farm where Quentin had been buried. Today, Jean-Luc would help lead the people of Chamery and nearby Colleville-sur-Mer in a special celebration of the life and sacrifice of Quentin Roosevelt.
Salut! Bonjour!
Celebrations and commemorations would be held today at the gravesite and then the fountain. But first, the people of Colleville-sur-Mer would hold a parade, lay flowers for the war dead, and hold a special ceremony to add the name Quentin Roosevelt to the local elementary school.
Et tous les jeunes qui sont venus se rendre aux côtes de leurs camarades françaises par amitié en défense de la France.
From Colleville-sur-Mer and the newly unveiled École Quentin Roosevelt, we drove 3 kilometers back to Quentin's original gravesite for a moving ceremony. Theodore Roosevelt's great-great-great-grandson, Quentin, captured our hearts and those of the French citizenry.
Vive la France! Allez les Bleus!
From the original gravesite, now another 2-kilometer drive back to the memorial fountain, where Austin would tell the story of Quentin, and I would preach from the bully pulpit.
Celebrate French-American friendship, the alliance between the 2 oldest republics in the world. I wanted to come to fight for France.
On my first patrol, a large piece of shrapnel ripped through my wing. A few weeks later, I was nearly downed by a German pilot who darted out at me from within the rays of the sun.
We sang our national anthems.
Entendez-vous dans nos campagnes de soldats qui viennent jusque dans nos bois égorger nos fils et nos compagnes. Aux armes, citoyens, formez nos bataillons, marchons, marchons. That our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free?
Megan Kyle sang a beautiful translation of the Ben Jonson poem, Drink to Me Only with Thine Eyes, in honor of Quentin Roosevelt and his young lover, Flora Payne Whitney, and dedicated to all the French and American wives and sweethearts of World War I.
L'homme s'élève du monde
And for an encore, Colonel Roosevelt's favorite, There'll Be a Hot Time. It was a hot time in Chamery that July afternoon, and I can attest, the water from Quentin Roosevelt's fountain was cold and refreshing. At luncheon to follow, the French served roasted duck, potatoes au gratin, lots of light wine, and more songs were sung. Memories for a lifetime.
If I'm ever back, I'll let you guys know. Monsieur. Yes.
Sunday morning would find us in Paris. Various of our party attended Mass at the Cathedral of Notre Dame or the American Cathedral of the Episcopal Church. Others worshipped the bed springs. Meanwhile, all of France awaited the afternoon World Cup soccer championship in which France was favored over Croatia on the pitch in Moscow. After church, while our musicians rehearsed, our historians ventured to the American cemetery at Colleville-sur-Mer. Here, over 9,000 American casualties from World War II have their eternal resting place. We arrived just an hour before the cemetery's closing, and just in time for the evening ceremony retiring the colors. We were able to visit the graves of Quentin Roosevelt and Theodore Roosevelt Jr. On special occasions, sand from Omaha Beach is used to color wash the inscription on Quentin's gravestone. Theodore Roosevelt Jr.'s letters stand out for being lettered in gold, a distinction earned by the Medal of Honor recipient. We said our prayers of thanks for all our brave soldiers, sailors, and airmen, and wandered among the graves and monuments. We walked down to Omaha Beach. We felt the tide, and our minds drifted back through time to a generation that gave its all to defend our country and Britannia for a free France and Belgium, and to vanquish the evils of Nazism and fascism around the globe. It's hard to put to words what it meant to us to visit the cemetery where thousands lie, to give thanks at the grave sites of Quentin and Ted Roosevelt. It is rather up to us to put to action the deeds and responsibilities that come to us as recipients of the great inheritance won by their sacrifice. Our trip to France would include a performance for the French travel industry. So many French travel agents sending tourists to see America, and not only New York, Washington, D.C., and Disney World, but also to the great national parks of the West, so closely associated with the life and legacy of Theodore Roosevelt. Our host, friend, and colleague, Emmanuel Blondon, demonstrating Parisian joie de vivre. Tom Brousseau, Megan Kyle, and Gregory Page had everyone in bubbly spirits. Finally, a beautiful dinner, reception, and performance at the Cercle des Armées, the French Army Officers Club in Paris. Our host, a French veteran of World War II, trained as a bomber pilot in Alabama near the war's end. The entertainments were enjoyed by all. The singers were an inspiration. Austin and Joe did their best to portray the spirit of the Roosevelts. The audience were kind with their remarks.
what I would say is that I just thought it was the most great diplomatic performance that I could possibly imagine for this kind of thing. I think he did something that was quite extraordinary, which was he managed to be now in 2018 and then suddenly take the whole audience back to 1918. And I think that he managed to do a great job saying that France and America were friends and that they should always stay friends.
The Theodore Roosevelt Medora Foundation of Medora, North Dakota have added here our humble efforts to commemorate the actions of our people and patriots a century ago. We rallied to celebrate the life and honor the sacrifice of Lieutenant Quentin Roosevelt. It has been a great pleasure to be a small part of celebrating French-American friendship on the centennial of the conclusion of the First World War. In many ways, our little village of Medora is as much a gift from France as it is our nation itself. Our village was founded in 1883, just months before TR's first visit by the Marquis de Moore, a French nobleman, and named for Medora von Hoffman, his American wife. The Chateau de Moore, Medora's Chimney Park, St. Mary's Church, the von Hoffman House, and de Moore Park itself speak to our noble French heritage along the Little Missouri in the Badlands, hunted and trapped by the French voyageur a half-century before American settlement. Our Medora musical outdoor stage, seen by over 100,000 people each summer, was designed by a French visionary. We hope that wherever you are, in the cities and towns of North Dakota, in Teddy's, New York, and one of the many places from Tampa, Florida to San Antonio, Texas, where TR's Rough Riders would have experienced a hot time in the old town, from the north woods of Maine to the valleys and cliffs of Yosemite, and indeed from Paris to Chamery and Colleville-sur-Mer. We hope you will find in Medora a love of life and the great outdoors, a celebration of the human spirit, and a place where the joy of life is alive and well. We hope we can say to you, welcome to Medora. Bienvenue à Medora. Merci. Merci beaucoup.
I want to ask the stars in the sky why sit so lonely and cry. My pals around me seem happy, so I ask you why shouldn't I? But somehow I'm sad and lonely. I just sit alone and cry. I'm lonesome, sad, downhearted and blue. I wish I had something to do. Got back from the bars. I think about him and worry. He died unprepared to go. Oh gee, I'm so sad and lonely. I just sit alone and cry. I'm lonesome, sad, downhearted and blue. I wish I had something to do.
But if you work hard at work worth doing, and if you do a good job doing that work, you can sleep well. You can know that you've run the race and done your best. It's not just time on task. It's the quality of the work that you produce. And we had a great team that produced some great quality work. It was greatly appreciated by the French. It's not our last trip to France, I assure you, at least as far as the Theodore Roosevelt Medora Foundation is concerned. Our relationship with the people of France, they being caretakers of two of the boys' graves, we shall return.
Medora has always been a place of dreams. From the Marquis de Moore's dream of a cattle empire in the American West, Theodore Roosevelt's dream of an idyllic but strenuous escape from grief, and finally to Harold Schaefer's incredibly bold dream of rebuilding a broken-down cow town and preserving Medora's western charm for generations to come. Today, the dream lives on through the Theodore Roosevelt Medora Foundation. It is our mission to preserve the Badlands experience, present the history of the West, and serve the traveling public here in Medora. None of it gets done without the wonderful work of the people of North Dakota and those from around the world who come to Medora every year to achieve remarkable feats, whether from Bismarck or Bulgaria, Dallas or the Dominican, from Taiwan to South Africa, or from a ranch just outside of town. The people of Medora are what makes this experience so unique. We are an organization of big dreams, filled with big dreamers, bold enough to think we can accomplish big things. We connect people to Medora for positive, life-changing experiences, and we don't plan on stopping anytime soon.